Hey guys, looks like a couple people are in the house. Um, if you are watching now, if you could let me know, give me a signal that you can hear me. We're trying something new with the audio today, and I think my headset's going to work better than what we had before. So we're just going to find out. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you for joining. This is our 7:30 Monday night power flow. Let's see. Hear you and see you. Awesome, Brad. Cool. Welcome. Um, yeah, this is our Monday night power flow. As usual, if you've been taking this class, it will be similar to our other power flows in the past. I kind of feel like tonight doing a little bit more shoulder mobility exercises. So in this flow, we'll still be doing the standard, what we call journey into power sequence, and just adding a little bit extra binds and opening on the front and the back side of your shoulders. Yay, Shannon and the girls are here. Love it. Okay, awesome. So yeah, a little bit more shoulder mobility stuff today. And after class, once we've done our flow, as always, if you have questions, you can post them in the chat. I'll be doing the practice with you guys. So if you need some hints, you can take a glance up at your screen. Otherwise, it's just like a normal class. Just follow the cues with your ears, do your best, and we will begin in child's pose. So with child's pose, the objective is really just to show up here on your mat. So it's the very first pose. Take your time if it feels good to move your head left and right. Maybe rock side to side on your hips. And then stretch your hands a little bit closer to the edge of your mat and see if your chest can dip down a little lower, opening your shoulders up on the front side. Breathe out all your air. Press yourself up to a tabletop position. And we'll move through some cow pose. On your inhale, you squeeze your shoulder blades. And then on your exhale, cat pose. Draw your shoulders apart, opening up your back. So continue cycling through your inhale for cow, exhale cat, putting the emphasis on squeezing or pulling apart your shoulder blades. Do one more cycle, so finish with one more cat pose. And then come up to your downward facing dog. In your down dog today, as always, if you feel like bending and straightening your legs, you can certainly do that. Put your eyes right between your big toes. And there is a point in every pose where your gaze can go. The concept is drishti. So wherever you put your drishti is your focus for your eyes. The more steady your eyes are, ideally, the more steady your mind is. So just keep that in the back of your head as we practice. Walk your feet all the way up to meet your hands. Grab opposite elbows for ragdoll pose. Let your chest drop down towards the floor. Let your head sway left and right if it helps you to relax your neck. Let go of your elbows, breathe out. Halfway lift, squeeze your shoulders close together. Exhale, fold again. 2 more, just like that. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift, press your chest forward. Exhale, bow. Extended mountain pose. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And then press your palms together. Take them to your heart. Gaze down, put your drishti on your fingertips or on the floor, and we will officially begin our practice together with one chant of Om. First, exhale out. Take a full breath in. All right, let's get into our flow. Extended mountain pose. Take your arms way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, shoulders together. Place your hands on the floor for plank pose. So we'll just take a second to get really strong in plank. Take a few breaths, and on your inhale, shift forward. On your exhale, shift back. So when you shift forward, you're just preparing for the pose that comes after this. And when you shift towards your heels, you can really get a nice calf stretch if that's what you need. So a couple more rounds of breath. Breathe out all your air. Squeeze your belly tight. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Flip your feet. Lift your chest. Downward facing dog. Press all the way back. Take a second here to breathe in and breathe out. And then we'll keep moving. Lift your heels up. Bend your knees. Hop or step to the top of your mat. Lift halfway up. Pull in. Forward fold. Drop your head. Extended mountain pose. Fully reach up. Forward fold. Squeeze your core muscles. Halfway lifts. Pull in tight. Step back for your plank. Get your legs really solid. This time we're going to move through our push-up. Inhale, lean forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Complete the end of your exhale and then lift up. Upward facing dog. Press yourself back. Downward facing dog. Couple more rounds of your sun A. Lift your heels high. Bend your knees. Step or jump to the top. Halfway lifts. Breathe. Exhale, fold out. Extended mountain, reach your arms up. For your exhale, bend your elbows, draw your shoulder blades in. Inhale, re-extend your arms. Maybe it feels good to lean back. On your breath out, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, come right down to your push-up. Chaturanga, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Another cycle. Inhale, lift up to your toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Walk or jump to the top. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Extended mountain. Breathe in. Bend your elbows. Breathe out. Re-extend your arms. Take an inhale. Fold down. Exhale. Halfway lifts. Take an inhale. Chaturanga for one exhale. You come down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Down dog. Press back as you exhale. Lift your heels up. Bend your knees. Jump or walk forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Chair pose. So for your chair, take your arms up to start and put the weight into your heels here while keeping your abs engaged. Next step, clasp your hands behind your back and now really lift your chest up towards the ceiling so you're opening across your collarbones. Take a deep inhale. Keep the bind. Straighten your legs out. Forward fold. We'll stay here for a moment so you can sway side to side if that feels good. Let your head relax as much as possible. Keep your hands clasped together. If it is hard to clasp, you can always take your fists behind you or create some sort of bind that is not the fingers together. That's okay too. On your next breath in, come back to chair with the bind. So draw your hands towards the ground. Breathe out, forward fold with the bind. 2 more times. Inhale, chair with the bind. Lift your heart. Exhale, bow down. Last time, chair pose. Keep the bind here. Exhale, fold. Let your hands come down to follow. Halfway lift. Breathe in. Chaturanga. Breathe out as you lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your right foot up to the top of your mats. Stand up for warrior one. For warrior one, press your back foot firmly flat and use that to turn your left hip towards the front of the room or whichever wall you're facing. And then clasp your hands behind your back. Use your hands behind you to be a gauge for if your hips are square. So if you notice one wrist is resting on your hip, but not the other, make your adjustment. Take a deep inhale. And then bow your chest forward, humble warrior. So we'll stay here for a couple rounds of breath. You can look at your back foot and see if you're collapsing in on your ankle, press into the pinky side of your back foot. And it can be kind of easy to let your hips open up. Continue that rotation of left hip forward and right hip back. Keep the bind, breathe out. And then inhale, sweep your arms up now, warrior one. Exhale, come to the floor, chaturanga. Breathe in, upward facing dog. Breathe out, downward facing dog. Let's switch feet, warrior one. Other foot goes forward. And then make your adjustments with your feet. For the first setup in warrior one, you can have your arms up or you can use them on your hips to make your adjustments here. Next step, take your hands together behind you, either clasped or fists together. Take a deep breath. Breathe out and hinge forward, humble warrior. So take a look at your foundation. Make your adjustments with your hips too. So let your right hip come forward. Draw your left hip bone back. Keep your air moving in and out. One more inhale here. Stay for the exhale. Arms come up and overhead, warrior one. And then you flow, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Down dog, let your air flow out. We'll keep going, lift your heels. Bend your knees, step or jump to the top. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Breathe in for your chair pose. Breathe out, take your hands together behind you. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, bow forward, keep the bind. Inhale, chair pose. This time, reach up. Fold back down, breathe out. Halfway lift, heart forward. Chaturanga, step or jump. Upward facing dog. Down dog. Right foot forward, warrior one. Take a breath in as your arms go up. Take your hands behind your back, breathe out. Inhale, let your chest rise up. And then bow it down, humble warrior. Stay here for an inhale. Deeply exhale. Stretch up to the ceiling, warrior one. And then you flow, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Second side, warrior one. Inhale to reach. Exhale to clasp. Inhale, puff it up. Exhale, fold over. Stay for an inhale. And the exhale. Rise back up. Warrior one. Flow through. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Down dog. One more cycle of the sun bee variation. Lift your heels. Bend your knees. Jump or walk forward. Lift halfway. Exhale, bow. Inhale for your chair. Arms up. Exhale, bind your hands behind you. Inhale, lifts with your chest. Exhale, straighten your legs, fold. Rise back up for your chair. Fold down again, let it go. Halfway up, breathe in. Chaturanga, flow. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step forward with your right foot. Warrior one, breathe in. Hands together behind you, exhale. Inhale, lift your ribs up. Exhale, fold over. On your breath in, come back up, warrior one. And then take chaturanga. If you want to make it harder, keep your right toes off the floor. Inhale up. Exhale back. Another side, warrior one on the left. Inhale, rise. Hands together as you breathe out. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, fold. Rise back up, warrior one. Chaturanga option. If you want to challenge yourself, keep your left toes up. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Lift your heels. Bend your knees. Jump or step forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Chair pose. This time, take your hands together at heart center. Take an inhale. When you exhale, twist over to the right side. So your elbows are here for support. You can use your elbow against your leg to rotate a little deeper. Make sure your belly is engaged and your heart, you want it lengthening away from your hips. So the longer your spine gets, the deeper you'll twist naturally. Stay with me, 3. Sit a little bit lower, 2. 1, rise up to mountain pose. Bend your elbows, exhale. Re-extend your arms, lean back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Press your palms together. Take a deep breath, create some length with your chest. Then you rotate to the left side. Put a little more weight into your heels in the chair twist and try to get your heart close to your thumbs. Deep breaths. If it feels better for you to open your arms, you can totally do that. We're going to stay for a little bit longer. Keep the extension going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten your legs, mountain pose. Bend your elbows, open your heart. Inhale, reach a little more. Bow down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Slide your left foot back, low lunge. So in a low lunge, your hands stay on the floor, but your back knee stays lifted. Unless you need to take a modification with your knee on the floor, that's okay. Next, we're gonna move to a twist here. So keep your left hand down, reach your right arm up towards the sky. Breathe deep. Take your top hand, wrap it behind your back. This is a half bind. So once you've got the wrap, Draw your top shoulder back behind you. Maybe you can twist a little deeper. Re-extend your right arm towards the ceiling. Take both hands back on the floor now. Now for the fun part, press into both feet, stand up for crescent lunge. So for crescent, you want your heel lifted, your back heel lifted, arms overhead. Take a deep breath in. Open up to the side, warrior two. Keep your drishti, your gaze right over your right hand. Keep it solid. Sink a little lower into your right leg. Lean to the front, side angle lunge. In your side angle lunge, you can use your elbow against your leg as support, or you can take your bottom arm and your top arm forward. Do what feels right to you. And then take, regardless if you have your bottom hand lifted, take your top hand behind your back for a half bind. Stay with your breathing. 3. For 2. For 1, come back to warrior 2. This time straighten your front leg. It's gonna feel so nice. Reach overhead, reverse triangle. And then take a big cartwheel down to the mat, chaturanga. Again, option to keep your foot lifted. Upward facing dog. Down dog, exhale everything out. Lift your heels. Bend your knees, hop, step, or jump forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, bow. Halfway lift again. This time your right foot goes back. Low lunge. So take a second to shift forward and back if that works for you. Maybe you can scoot your back foot closer to the back edge of your mat. Something to notice right here is the distance to the left and the right between your feet. If they're on a tightrope, it might be harder for this crescent that comes later. So adjust them about as wide as your hips. And now we go for the twist. Take your left arm up. Take your left hand behind your back. Draw your shoulder open. And here we go. Re-extend your arm. Ground down through your front foot. Come up. Ooh, crescent lunge. Engage your back leg. Lift it away from the ground. And if you tuck your tailbone a little extra, you're going to feel the stretch go deeper. Keep your knee low. Warrior 2. Move your gaze over your left hand now. So even though your front leg is probably feeling some stuff right now, keep some effort into your back foot as well. Glide your upper body forward. Side angle lunge. You have the option to get some more core work if you take both hands forward first. Make sure you're breathing deeply. Take your right hand, wrap it behind your back, half bind. If you know the full bind, you can go there too. Go with what's available to you. Deep breaths for 3. Reach your chest forward and rotate a little more. 2. Take your arms open. Reverse your warrior 2 with a straight front leg. Take an inhale. And cartwheel, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Down dog, push the air out. Walk your feet all the way up to the top of your mat. Bend your knees as much as you need. Grab your big toes with your peace fingers and draw your chest a little lower towards the floor. Deeper forward fold. Let your head drop. You can sway it side to side. Let go of your toes. Slide your hands underneath your feet now. Gorilla pose. Let your hands release. And now it's time for crow pose. So for crow, Hands go down just like chaturanga. You bend your elbows a little bit so you make a shelf for your knees to rest on, or they can hug the outsides of your legs, whichever one works, but your hips need to be lifted in order for you to float. So you can try one foot at a time. That's cool too. Keep breathing no matter what. 5, 4. Can you take your heels closer to your butt? 3, 2. Jump or step back. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And then walk your feet forward to your hands one more time. Lift all the way up, mountain pose. Clasp your hands behind you. Exhale. Inhale, lift your chest. One more fold over with a bind. Let your head release. If the sway left and right feels good, please do it. Let your hands go. Take a big sweep up towards the ceiling. One more mountain. Before our balancing series, eagle pose, right leg on top, right elbow underneath. So this is a chance for you to open up the back side of your shoulders. So the more that you lift your elbows away from your chest and press your forearms away from your face, you're gonna feel it pull your shoulders a little stretched out behind you, just like that cat pose from the start of class. Squeeze your legs together, sit a little lower. Mountain pose. We'll do it again, second side, eagle pose. Now your left leg is on top. Left elbow wraps under. If your hands wrap, that's cool. If they don't, you can also press your forearms together. Same idea. Use your elbows, pulling forward and up to stretch your shoulder blades. Keep your eyes steady. That will help your balance. Extended mountain. Take a breath in. And we'll do it again. Eagle pose. Right side. So this time, keep grounded through your left foot and reach your right knee up to your chest. Keep your hands bound just like that. Take your right foot back behind you. Airplane legs with eagle arms. Turn your right hip down towards the floor. You want your hips level right here. Unwrap your arms, reach forward. This is warrior 3. Take your foot way back behind you. Step back for crescent lunge. Slow motion is good when you're stepping back, so that means control is happening. Take your arms to the sides. Warrior 2, open up. Lean forward, side angle lunge. So this is important if you've got a water bottle or a yoga block, you can use as a prop. It's gonna come in handy. Next pose is half moon. So press forward onto your front foot. That is your point that you're balancing on. The block is for your left hand, so you can use it underneath your fingers. Ideally, just your fingers. So if your whole palm is pressing flat, try to use your core to lift up off of it. Take your top arm behind your back. So another half bind. Rotate your chest up towards the ceiling. If you fall, it's okay. Deep breaths for 3. Maybe you can hover your bottom hand, see what happens. 2, 1, unbind, step to the floor, shake it off. Mountain pose, sweep up. Eagle pose, left leg on top now. Left elbow under, so you're gonna be on your right foot for a little bit. Get really grounded through that leg. Pick up your left knee. Keep the steadiness in your standing leg. airplane legs, keep your bound arms. Pick one spot in front of you to look at for your gaze. Use it to support you. Take your arms, reach them forward, warrior three. As slowly and intentionally as possible, bend your front knee till you step back, crescent lunge. Open your arms apart, warrior two. Glide forward for your side angle. So I've got my elbow as support on my leg. I know I won't be able to keep it there forever. Put more weight into your front leg. Put your eyes on one spot. Here we go. Half moon, press forward. Keep your top toes flexing. Every inhale, think about lifting up a little more. Every exhale, think about getting stronger. And now take your left hand behind you, half bind. Continue to open your chest towards the sky. If you're not really wobbling, there's probably more of an edge to go to. So take it there. We'll breathe for 3. Try to hover your bottom hand off the block or the floor. 2, 1. Step down, release your bind, shake it out. Mountain pose, reach up. Hands to your heart. We'll do a tree pose, right foot against your left leg. You can put it high or low, doesn't really matter. You can also keep it like a little kickstand if you're feeling a little shaky today. All options are good as long as you're not pressing against your knee joint. It's a good place to be. So you decide, since you've practiced opening your shoulders a few ways, you can either take your hands in a bind behind you. You can do the eagle arms to pull your shoulders open on the back side. Or you can take your arms up into the cactus and lift your heart. Create something that opens your shoulders in the way that you need it today. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath, fullest expression. Take your hands back to heart center. Step to the floor. 1 more time, tree pose, other leg. Same idea on this side. Once your base is firmly planted, use your hands in a way that opens you up, gives you a really nice stretch on whichever side of your shoulders needs the most openness right now. Slow breaths. If you need more challenge, you can keep lifting your heart and leaning it back. Let your eyes follow. We'll breathe in 1 more time. Exhale out. Hands back to your heart. Step down and let's rinse it off with a flow. Mountain pose. Inhale. Forward fold. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale. Chaturanga. Exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Warrior 1. Right foot forward. Warrior 2. Open up. Another side angle lunge. So this time I'll show you what the full bind possibility is like. So you would take your top arm behind your back and your bottom arm in front of your leg. You might have to dip your chest down pretty low and your hips have to be pretty open to create this bind, what I'm doing is taking my front hand behind me, clasping my hands together. If you've got the clasp, focus on turning your chest forward and rotating it up. This is a lot. You can also do the half bind. So with either the half bind or the full bind, now straighten your front leg, bound triangle. So again, no pressure to keep that bind. If it feels like a lot, that's okay. Half bind is totally cool. Other options are available too. If you've done too much shoulder opening, you can reach your arm up. Use your bottom arm to press against if you're not doing the binds. Now extend your arms up and down. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, turn your feet towards the left edge of your mat, side facing, wide-legged forward fold. So if you've been working on your headstands recently, this is where you could put one. You would make a little basket with your hands. So interlace your fingers. Make sure that your elbows stay as wide as your shoulders. If you're checking that distance, you can grab opposite elbows and see how wide they go. Make your basket. Place the top of your head down, and then just practice leaning forward, trying to keep the weight off of your head, or not off of it completely, but more of the effort goes into your shoulders. Once you're doing this motion, maybe you just come up onto tippy toes just to build the strength, and eventually your feet might come up. You don't have to go all the way up to vertical to get the same work. Meanwhile, if you're like, headstand is so not for me, you can still be stretching and getting a really good benefit out of this pose. We'll be here for one more exhale. Come all the way up to standing. Turn your feet towards the front of your mat. Pyramid pose. Turn your hips so they're both facing straight forward. You can use your hands to guide you. Hinge towards the front so your chest moves forward. Then you drop it down. Your hands can go towards the ground, towards your leg, on a prop maybe. This time I do suggest no matter what you're grabbing, try to create that cat pose with your back. So draw your hands back behind you enough to where you feel your shoulder blades move apart. Let your head drop. Exhale all your air. Reach your heart forward. This is a good place to use your water bottle or your block or some support. Twisting triangle. If you don't have support, you can use your left hand somewhere on the outside of your right leg and lift your opposite arm up. Breathe out. Take both hands down to the floor and then step back for your chaturanga flow. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Warrior one with your left foot forward. Here we go. Second side. Open up. Warrior two. Move through your side angle lunge. Take your right arm, extend it up high. Next step, you can create the half bind, or if you've got some extra space to give, you can go for the full. So your left arm goes in front of your leg. Maybe you clasp your hands. If you've got a towel handy and you don't have the grip all the way, you can use a towel as a prop to create the same sensation here. Again, make sure your chest isn't dipping too low. You want to reach it forward and rotate it up. Next, begin to straighten your front leg out. Bound triangle. Half or full is cool. If your arms feel like they've had too much, you can also reach them up and down, whatever feels best for you. Unbind your arms. Now you reach up and down for sure. On your exhale, turn your feet over to the right side. Another wide-legged fold. Create a different variation on this side. So for me, I feel like grabbing my big toes and then pulling my chest down towards the ground. There are a number of things you could do. You could use the floor to walk your hands underneath you, clasp your hands behind your back, do a ragdoll arm, or go for another headstand, whichever you're feeling. We'll be here for 2 more breaths. Release whatever variation you got. Come up to stand. And now aim your feet towards the front edge of your mats. Let's go for pyramid pose. Adjust your hips first. On your breath in, lengthen your chest forward. On your breath out, drop it down. And use your hands to stretch the back side of your shoulders. Let your head drop, let it relax. If you're looking towards the front of your mat, you might find a little tension there. So you can always look towards your back foot or the back line of your mat. It's a good sign that you're relaxing here. On your next breath in, lift your chest up. And now we go for the twisting triangle. Use your right hand to support you. Take your other hand up. Reach your chest forward. And you want your bottom hand that's supporting you to be high enough that your chest can angle up rather than down. So do it feel supportive. Stay with me and breathe for 3, for 2, and 1. Take both hands down, step back for a plank pose. Take a breath in, shift forward. Exhale, lower all the way to your belly. Rest one cheek on the floor. Take an inhale. Exhale out. Switch cheeks. Same thing. Take a breath and release it. And now we do a little more shoulder opening. Keep your hands placed next to your ribs. We're going to go for a cobra pose first. So in cobra, keep your whole lower body planted on the floor. Press into your hands. Focus on lifting your chest. Keep your belly active. Next level while you're in this position is to press your palms down and then drag them towards your hip bones. You're going to feel your shoulders squeeze together and your collarbones spread apart. Look wherever it feels best for your neck. Stay with your breath for 3. Can you push a little more? 2. 1 more breath. Exhale, let your chest come down. And now we're going to take it to locust. Keep your hands in that position. This time the legs come up too. So hands can push down to get you started. Once your chest is lifted, lift your hands off the floor. Same idea, create the action of shoulders pulling back. Deep breaths. If you're feeling any pressure in your low back, focus more on squeezing your belly than anything else. Take another inhale. Exhale, come down. 2 more times with breath. Inhale, lift up, locust pose. Exhale, release. Last time, inhale, locust. This time, reach your hands back behind you, bend your knees, grab your feet or your ankles, floor bow. If you can only get one at a time, that's okay. Keep your other arm reaching forward. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower. If you lost your feet, grab them again. 1 more, floor bow, push back. Try to rock up 1 more rib off the floor. Inhale. Exhale, let your feet go. Move them left and right. Let an exhale go out of your mouth. Take your feet back behind you. Plant your hands Upward facing dog. Breathe in, puff it up. Flip your feet, downward facing dog. And now make your way onto your back for bridge. If you like to practice jumping through, you can certainly cross your ankles, wiggle through your hands, or just working on it, right? Take your back to the floor, lift your hips up towards the ceiling, and then take your hands, either clasp them or take them up for little robot arms. Definitely walk your shoulders closer together. Use your legs for support too. Drive into the ground so your chest gets closer to your chin. Breathe in. Exhale, lower to the floor. 2 more times. Inhale. If you do wheels, this is where you put them. You can go to full wheel here. On your exhale, lower to the floor. Last time. Inhale, bridge or wheel pose. Lift yourself up. Wheels, make sure your hands are wider than your shoulders. It will help you open up. Take 3 deep breaths right here. Slow yoga breaths, y'all. 2 more. 1 more. Can you drive your hips higher? On your exhale, lower down to the floor. Butterfly pose. Let your feet touch together. You can take 1 hand over your heart, 1 hand over your belly. For me, sometimes I'll rock my knees side to side just to get my low back releasing. Happy baby comes next. Grab your feet or the backs of your legs somewhere where it feels more accessible. There's really no pressure to grab your feet as long as you're feeling some sort of stretch in your hips and some relief in your low back. Let go of whatever you've got. Take your legs up to the ceiling. Reach your arms forward so your shoulders lift up. Let's do a little core. Take a breath in. Lower your feet 30%. Take another inhale. Lower to 60. Take a breath. Lower to 90. Lift all the way back up. Take your toes together, your heels apart. We'll do it again. Lower 30. Lower 60. Lower 90. Take it up. Switch the angle of your feet. Make the letter V with your feet. Lower 30. Lower 30 more. 30 more. Right from here, boat pose. Pop up. You can grab the backs of your legs to get situated, or you can keep your hands off and try to use just your strength of your core to keep you engaged here. This is medium boat if your feet are kind of parallel or somewhere a little bit lower. High boat would be toes up, arms up. Go for high boat. Take an inhale. Low boat, hollow out. Again, boat pose, medium. Take it to high boat. Take it to low boat. And now crisscross your feet. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lay on your back. Hug your knees. Plant your feet on the floor. We're going to do some penguins. So penguins with your feet on the floor. This is for your obliques. Lift your shoulders up. And you're going to reach towards your toes on each side, alternating. So you waddle like a penguin. Let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lay back. Stretch out your whole body. Arms overhead, toes splayed out. Curl your knees into your chest. Take some rocks and rolls up and down. Make your way to downward facing dog. However you get there is awesome. And then take your right foot forward for half pigeon. So before you take your chest down, look at the alignment of your legs. You really want your thighs parallel with the fronts or the sides of your mat here. So to the left and the right, make sure they're facing directly forward. And then once you've got that alignment, your front foot, over time, it will get closer and closer to parallel with the top edge of your mat. Really, you'll know when it's time to start taking it further. In the meantime, just focus on your thighs in alignment and then let your chest come down to whatever degree feels comfortable, or at least achievable right now. So depending on how you want to open your shoulders, you can either take your hands back by your hips, let your shoulders kind of drape forward, so more of a cat position. You can also take your elbows either on the floor if you've got that access, on a block. And then with prayer hands, you can take your hands behind your head. Over time, you can start walking your elbows forward. And when your chest melts down a little lower, you'll start to feel it stretch out a little differently. The other option is the good old-fashioned way. You can reach your arms overhead. Similar shoulder opening to a down dog or a child's pose. Take one more inhale. Fully exhale. Walk your hands back so your chest comes up. We'll do another round, half pigeon. This time, left leg goes in front. Again, check your thighs. Are they facing the same exact angle, parallel with the sides of your mat? Once you've got it, take your chest and lower it down. Create whatever arm variation feels best for your shoulders here and for your hips too. Right now, your drishti point, so where you put your gaze, it can be with your eyes closed if that feels best for you. It's typically easier in stretches to turn inward and just reflect on your experience right now without judgment. That's really what we're going for in yoga, is to just be in the flow of it. Practice being okay with whatever's there. I have a teacher who tells me that happiness is not what you feel, but it's how you feel about how you feel. So you have the choice to react however you like with whatever you've got. On your breath in, take your chest back up, and then swing your right leg out in front of you. Single leg seated forward fold. Reach your hands towards your foot. Whether you grab it doesn't really matter, but you have another chance to do a half bind with your left hand behind you, or you can practice both hands behind you while you extend. Just continue exploring what feels best and what you need in your upper body. Your lower body will be feeling a stretch regardless, I'm sure. Lift up and switch to the other side. Aim your torso towards your foot. Lean forward. Bound or not, you decide. Breathe out all the way. Come on up. Extend both legs out in front of you. Same idea. Reach towards your feet. You can always keep a bend in your knees. Grab whatever helps you stay supported here. Release that position and we'll do the opposite now, reverse tabletop or reverse plank. So after all that folding, this gives you a chance to open up the front side of your body another time. Take an inhale, exhale, lower to the ground. Let your back rest on the floor. If you're near a wall, you can take legs up the wall pose with your heels lightly pressing on the wall. If you're practicing shoulder stands, you can take your hands and support your back. The idea in shoulder stand is to have your legs stacked right over your elbows. So rather than having your feet angling forward, puts a little pressure on your neck. So keep your legs reaching directly over your elbows. The next position, if you're in shoulder stand, is intentionally taking your feet over. Again, be mindful of how your neck is feeling. Maybe your toes touch the floor, maybe they don't. My legs up the wall, friends. You can stay where you are and chill. Those of you in this position, the plow pose, you can bend your knees. Maybe your knees come close to your head. You can go for ear pressure pose. If not, no big deal. We're all just working on it. As intentionally as possible, take your back one vertebrae at a time down to the mat. Hug your knees. Drop your knees to one side for supine twist. Your arms can go out to a T. For a little extra quad stretch, take your bottom foot behind you. You might have to kind of wiggle your hips around. You can maybe reach back and grab your foot behind you. This is tiger catching its tail. Unwind your twist. Take your knees back and over to the other side. Start with the regular supine twist. If you want that extra bonus stretch, your bottom leg can come underneath you. Reach back with your opposite hand. Maybe you grab your foot. Let go of your twist or your foot if you had it. Take one more butterfly pose. Next is Shavasana. So for your Shavasana, if you have a pillow nearby, you could place a pillow right underneath your upper back and more or less drape over on top of it. If you have two yoga blocks and you've been to our Power Flow class, you can put one. If you've been to a class, you know what it looks like, but you can have one block underneath your shoulder blades, the other block on a lower setting underneath your head. If you have none of those things, it is perfectly acceptable to just lay here in Shavasana and chill. On your next exhale, open your mouth, sigh some air out. Have your eyes closed and your air moving very softly in and out. This resting pose is just as important as the rest of the flow. So take a moment to observe how your body feels in this resting position. Observe how you feel emotionally. And as thoughts drift into your awareness, just create a little distance. Pretend like you're watching your thoughts like clouds floating by, or like you're watching them on a TV screen, and you can change the channel. You can watch the cloud dissolve. Use the next few breaths to create more space. Bring some movement to your fingers and toes. Deepen your inhales and your exhales. You can stretch your arms up and over your head. Let your legs straight, stretch out long and straight. Next time you breathe out, hug your knees in. Roll onto your side for infant's pose. You can use your bicep as a pillow. Then press yourself up to a seated position. If you opened your eyes to come to seated, you can close them again just to stay in touch with what's going on the inside. Touch your hands together in front of your heart. And we will close our practice tonight with one final Om. Breathe out first. Inhale. Take your thumbs up to touch your third eye. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, I so appreciate you spending your time with me, with yourself, and with your yoga practice. The light in me sees, honors, and loves the light in you. Namaste. And that's your flow. You guys, if you were really feeling that Shavasana and you want to stay a while, you can certainly do that. If you guys have questions about anything at all, please feel free to chime in on the chat. We also release every week we're going to do this. We're going to release some yoga content in addition to our jujitsu content so you can learn the ins and outs of some of these flows. So we just posted one today that's all about Sun Salutation A, so you can learn some modifications and intensifications since we do that flow so much. So yeah, check it out on the app. If you need any support, let me know. Nikki, have to put the boys to bed. Thanks for the awesome class. Oh, you're so welcome, Nikki. Man, I miss seeing you guys. But, I hope you still got some sweat in. Yeah, y'all. If you need any support, for real, you can always email me too. My email is aklein@cjjfntx.com. If you're looking for a specific type of stretch or you want to see something demonstrated in some of those online videos, I would be happy to provide that to you. So just hit me up if you need anything. And yeah, keep your practice going, you guys. Thanks for showing up. Yeah, take care. I will be back tomorrow for another live session. So hope to see you virtually. Take care in the meantime, you guys. Adios.